I felt and saw this presence of something like a ghost.
As I was reaching for my keys, something growled at me coming out of the basement.
It was bad energy. I was sort of feeling like I was letting Satan out of hell.
I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was the girl falling off the roof.
I couldn't think. It was so loud and I was so terrified that I just froze.
I'm not calling for that. I'm calling because I'm freaking out here.
I felt this presence trying to push itself down on top of me very violently.
It would not go away. It was freaking me out. I look at my arm and it's got a scratch on it.
Welcome, everybody, to Ghost of Greystone. My name is Clete.
And I'm Chris.
And we are those Keith brothers, and thank you for joining us. And tonight on this episode, we have the greatest sounds. You're going to love this. We have voices, and I'm like a pure... This is not like something you might hear, barely in the background. You're going to hear an amazing voice tonight, along with the moving and the missing. You'll understand what that
I still think it's somebody in your group that made that voice.
Oh, really? Yeah. So you've heard this voice already?
I've heard it.
Okay.
I put it together, and we'll talk about it.
Don't even go there.
We'll talk about it.
Don't go there. We'll let the audience make their choice, okay? So what's on the schedule for tonight? What are we doing?
Well, first thing, what I wanted to say, first of all, is that make sure you stay tuned because we will have the sound of the week at the very end. And it's a fascinating one that we haven't heard,
That's
obviously.
True. Yep.
First up, we have the historic kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And my question to you is, why do they call it the historic kitchen? Why isn't it just the kitchen?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. There are two kitchens at the Greystone Mansion. And I'm going to get into a little diatribe here.
Okay.
Okay, because this is something that's always bothered me. Back in 2011, 2012, when I was working there, they ended up deciding that they, meaning the city of Beverly Hills and its council and all that stuff, they decided that Greystone should have its own actual functioning kitchen. The historic kitchen isn't functional. It's like it's the vents and all that stuff. You can't use that.
Okay.
And they took the kitchen, the huge stove and all that stuff, the range that's in there, replated it. Big mistake. Because it looks like restoration hardware,
Yeah, I remember when I went in there, the first time I saw it, it had ashes. I mean, it was as if it was from back in the 20s.
That's exactly right. That's what was so brilliant about it. And you could see the flames that had come out and burned the metal for the warmers for pizza and all that stuff. Anyway, so in 2011, 2012, they decided that they were going to build a new kitchen. So what they decided was they would take 4, 5, or 6, I can't remember what it was, historic rooms of the servants' wing, where their living quarters and their dining room, demolish those, and with those build a new kitchen. And with even a little elevator, so when you're cooking up there and you finish, you could send it down to the first floor to take it into home. They usually eat outside. Anyway, my problem with it was, and this is just me, I was low on the totem pole. I was, logistics and a part-time ranger when they needed me and all that stuff. So, nobody was going to listen to me. But my point was, why destroy these amazing rooms and put in this $1 million kitchen when a famous chef, and I won't use his name, but had events there, he's not going to cook there. All his stuff to cook isn't in that kitchen. Right. It's at his place.
It wasn't well thought out.
No, but then take one room and make it a warmer. We have all these warming things. So they bring the food in, the caterers, they put it in there, they warm it up, and then you take it out. So anyway, they didn't do that. Boy, that hurt me. So they put in this kitchen. Even when they were building the kitchen, by the way, this guy, because I was overseeing, watching it when the people come in and go, and this guy comes in and I don't know if he's putting in the ice machine or whatever the hell he was doing. He comes in, he looks at me and goes, this is like a 5-star kitchen in a hotel. And I said, yeah. And he says, kind of overkill. And I go, you think? I mean, and guess what? It's not used that much. I can't get into it because I love Greystone. I love some of the people that still work there. Has nothing to do with that.
Right.
It's just, I think the powers that be at that time didn't, like Chris said, didn't really think it out. And it was a mistake.
Yeah. It was, what troubles me the most is how can you take a historic location and chop it up? It doesn't make any sense to me. This is a landmark.
Right.
Right? It's on the list of
historic landmarks. And all right, there was somebody who worked with us who was adamant about it and then reversed their point of view on it, saying, no, I never wanted it.
You sound a little bitter right now.
I'm a bitter man.
You sound like you're fairly upset.
I apologize. Let's talk about paranormal.
Let's talk about
Can we?
The ghosts and everything else that you say is in the mansion.
Oh, boy.
All right. First up, we have an interview with Glenda.
Oh, Glenda and Tony, right?
Right.
Glenda and Tony. Okay. This is really cool. This is something that happened that...
you said it has to do with a voice.
Yeah. So we haven't really... We've heard voices before. We've talked about voices before, and we still will in future episodes. There have some other ones that are really cool. This is an odd one, what they heard. And the only one of all 300 stories, whatever, that sounded like this, what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are basically vendor caterers. And they're the vendors that come in and serve. And they're going to tell you about what took place.
Okay.
Basically what happened with this, the event was kind of over.
Do you know what event it was? Do you remember what event?
It was a wedding, and we were given the assignment to come back down here and clean up any like leftover cocktail glasses or anything like that in the outside area, in the back of the house.
Oh, out in the terrace.
Yes.
And do you know what time this was approximately?
It was night already.
Early.
No,
it wasn't.
night.
Was it dark?
Night. It was dark already.
It was dark. Okay.
It was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah, you're right. Because the wedding was at dusk. I mean, the party was at dusk. Yeah. So.
And do you know what time of year this was approximately?
It was
summertime, summer.
Spring, or it wasn't really hot. It was.
Okay. It wasn't like scorching hot like it sometimes.
Yeah, it was like either spring or end of summer.
Yeah.
It was like somewhere.
He was trying to open other doors, and I was like, Tony, I don't think we should be trying to open any doors. But where I heard the sound, so the sound was like a man lamenting and the wind put together. It was what you typically would think of a ghost sound, like like that, and that long. And I immediately started looking at like all the windows to make sure there was no cracks, no window was open, because of course the first thing my mind started to do was trying to rationalize what I just heard. And I was like, it has to be the window. And I said, Tony, did you hear that? And he was like, oh, look at this is cool, and look at this. And I was like, I don't think we should be here. And it happened again. I went, ooh, but like stronger. And he shot up and he goes, oh my God, did you hear that? And I go, yes, that's the same thing that I told you I heard. I think we should get out of here. I think we should go.
What's weird is there's a door that we were going to go outside to. And I remember I was trying to open it and it was locked.
Yeah.
And I was jokingly saying, oh, maybe the ghost locked it. And then I wasn't listening. I was like focusing on getting outside. And you were saying, shut up, do you hear that?
Yeah, I said, oh my God, did you hear that? But you didn't hear me.
Yeah.
Which I just said.
At first,
yeah, so I started looking around all the windows at the same time. You going, oh, look at this is cool. And then I was also saying, like backing up going, I think we should go. And that's when it came even stronger again.
Yeah.
That's when you heard it.
And you heard it.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
So because it was at first I was like focused on the door, getting outside and joking, like maybe a ghost has locked the door, and you were already hearing it, something.
Yeah.
And then you said shut up or shut the up or can you hear that or something, because you were getting kind of amped up on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I finally shut up, and I had been hearing it but blowing it off, and it was this groaning male.
Windy,
like,
right? See?
It was kind of windy, like the Tarzan yell, but I mean, like with just multiple voices at once. It just sounded like.
I told him it was like this. It was like, ooh, sort of like deep, lamenting, windy, sort of.
Yeah, and we started looking for like, is there any air blowing or
Yes.
windows? And there's no airflow anywhere.
But you kind of lingered, And I was feeling like we shouldn't linger. I was feeling more like everything's locked, everything's dark. I've heard that there might, and I just felt like we shouldn't probably be here.
Now, is this before you heard the voice?
Yes.
Okay.
It was before I heard the voice, or the sound, or whatever it is. I don't know if I was just getting that feeling, and then I heard it, and then, like I said, I was. At first, of course, I'm trying to rationalize. It's just my mind. It's just whatever. But then it happened again, and that's when we both were kind of on board. Like, okay, something. Let's go. And you got a little nervous too. At the end, you were like, I think we should go. I think we should go.
Okay, so here's the deal. Where Tony was, we did that interview in the butler's pantry. All right. So the butler's pantry is right inside, just before the kitchen. Off the butler's pantry is the breakfast room. Off the breakfast room is the dining room. He was going into the dining room that night to look at the door that has windows that look out to the terrace, which is where Luz Rodriguez in episode 4 or whatever, the dining room. She was looking from the outside terrace in and saw Ned Doheny there in that room. Tony's over there looking at that door going, "Wow, this is cool. That's kind of neat." And she's going like, "Are you hearing what's going on here?" And what's actually kind of tripped me out was when she started talking about that sound and the windows. Even then, when we were talking, she was looking up at the windows, still trying to figure out how that sound could come in through those windows.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So let's hear what else they said.
I do remember possibly just going around everywhere looking for cracks, like looking for the windows and...
In the butler's pantry.
Yes, and I was like, maybe it was this fan, fan moved,
Kitchen.
And it wasn't moving. So I remember going, what's open, just looking around, and then we heard it again. I think I walked back to him, and I said, let's. And
it got really loud. Yeah. That's when we finally left, because it was getting louder.
The voice got louder. So you heard it twice. Just twice, right?
Yeah.
I heard it the one time, but I was kind of vaguely pained because I kept blocking it out. And when you said, do you hear that? Or shut the fuck up, do you hear that? And I had been hearing something like that. No, I mean, I don't know if that was what, but it was what... But I realized I had been hearing it. I was just blocking it out.
Gotcha.
Like a background thing.
Like it was a background noise that you heard.
Yeah. And then it got more distinct or louder or something. But.
Yes. And then, so anyway, for me, it was like validation that there was an actual sound, whatever it was, because he heard it and he immediately got like a bit like freaked out, like a little nervous, like, wait.
And I think we discussed, like, should we go or should we stay? We're kind of both torn, like, should I?
No, I was like, let's go.
I wasn't too soon.
Yeah. You were like, I think you said something like, but hold on, let's look through here. And I think that's when we peeked.
Somewhere,
this door, the crack. We peeked at the door, and I just remember seeing like a black.
The door that she's talking about, because I remember this vividly, was, remember, we're in the butler's pantry. When you walk right out, there's a little, like a circle there that you can go to any room in there, but straight ahead is the grand hall. So that door, and we were doing the interview, was cracked closed. So she said, I think it was this door, because they went out and looked in the grand hall. It was dark. She goes, no, let's get out of here. It scared him. It scared him. It's just the greatest.
It's great.
Yeah.
Black, dark hallway, and I was like, no way, let's go.
There's no one down here, no security, nobody. All our staff had gone.
It was just us down here.
So when you hear that voice or that noise, can you pinpoint like where it came from? Like you said, you were looking for the reason for the noise, but can you pinpoint, like when you heard it, was it behind you?
I felt it was in the hall all over, but it seemed like it was all over.
I feel like it was just everywhere.
Wow, okay.
And for sure in the hallway, because I remember we went into the hallway eventually, or at some point.
The grand hall?
The hall.
Yeah, because you're right. That's a good question, because immediately, of course, in my mind, I'm going towards the windows, but it's not like it came from the windows.
Okay.
It was just me trying to figure out, justify, it must be the wind.
We eventually left down here to go back and tell people what we heard or something like that.
Yeah, then we were just like then we were just sort of processing and then talking about it, and we literally were like texting till like 4 a.m, talking, telling each other the different research we have found online and sending photos and like, look at this and check this out. So that was where like my kind of fascination with the whole family and everything that,
It felt like the sound was like up and down.
Everywhere.
Like, mostly up and down, like not like everywhere kind of like it. I was like, is it down the hall? Is it up the? Because it's echoey, reverby,
Yeah, so you heard an echo in the sound, in his voice.
Yeah, it was rich, deep, and windy.
Yes, it was rich, deep sound. I definitely had the chills when I heard it.
It did feel like there was something here, right?
Yeah,
it did felt like
definitely.
Like there was a story with that voice. It felt like there was something with it.
And it was definitely male voice.
Definitely male.
Yeah. Like it felt like there was an intelligence in there. It wasn't just like we were wondering.
It felt like it was a suffering voice.
Yeah.
It felt like it was like lamenting, like suffering and anger and hurt and pain all in one. It wasn't like a, hey, get out of here sort of noise. It was more of like a.
And it did seem like a mechanical accident, like a weird.
It didn't seem like it was
sounded
an
like there was a
accident.
sentient
It didn't sound like an
feeling.
old fridge. It didn't sound like. You've never actually, heard a ghost for real. I had sensed, and in my dreams, I know there's, things happening, but in real life, I think that was the first time that I ever actually heard, something that could be a spirit. And I think what resonated with me mostly was that pain in the sound. It was like a pain.
Like what she's saying is like there's a story behind the groaning, moaning.
Yeah, I don't know if it was trying to reach out to us or it was saying, get out of here. It felt more like the get out of here, but that could be my fear,
Is that the greatest? They are the two of the nicest, coolest people. I just met them to do that interview.
I never met them.
They're awesome.
I would have loved to experience that. I mean, I don't know if they know how unbelievable that was. I mean, she's just going like, well, it was lamenting, and it's like, oh my God, do you understand what you just heard?
That's how I feel with all these.
Yeah.
When I hear with, other people, I almost said another show that we're doing, when you hear these people actually go through what they've gone through, Steve Clark and all that stuff, it's like as terrifying as it can be, or as frightening, maybe not as terrifying, but frightening as it can be. You know how lucky you are?
Oh my
gosh. How many people get to hear something like that? I never did for 22 years, never heard it. Never heard any voices, anything. But this was awesome. They are awesome. And that's the only show that we will do in this series that had a voice that was like that, like whatever that was, which is funny because it is kind of like a ghost there right?
Yeah. That's what's so odd about
hilarious.
it.
And maybe
Typical.
that was Ned or Hugh messing with them.
There you go again, adding your old slant on it.
You don't think they're thinking that?
No, they're not.
Okay, whatever. I gave it a shot.
All
Anyway,
right,
that's why.
Next up.
Don't listen to it.
Rhonda, design show. Definitely, I know this one. I remember.
Yeah. This is Rhonda Jackson, and she's awesome. To all these people that had a lot of things happen to them over the years and everything, really cool people, man. I was very lucky to meet all these people. Rhonda Jackson is a designer, has her own company, I believe, and this was in 2006. We were doing a design show then. We did it for like 10 years in a row. And we've talked about it before, where designers can come in from a magazine or whatever it is, and they could pick a room. Rhonda chose the kitchen, the historic kitchen, not the damn new kitchen, the historic kitchen. And
do they actually just do they get to walk around the mansion and then pick out a room?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
So, and what hierarchy? Who gets?
Well, I think what happens is they put in their name for what room they want, and it's probably a drawing or something like that, right? And they pay for the room. It's not like an exorbitant amount. It's just that money goes toward
restoration.
Yeah. So anyway, something like that, and it did. It went into a fund.
Yeah,
a fund. So anyway, Rhonda chose the historic kitchen. She was really excited. I remember her being in the kitchen, and I won't give anything away. I know you're going like, don't say
give
it,
anything away.
I won't. But part of my job at that time was to walk through all the rooms and make sure people weren't drilling into the wood, which they did, or
while they were putting stuff up, you were to walk around.
Yeah, painting the wrong. You can't paint the wood, and it's historic. So that's what I do. I was walk around. I walked into her kitchen and saw her, and just said hi, and moved on. And then later on, I came into the kitchen and things had changed. So let's listen to Rhonda tell her story, and then we'll chat about it.
Okay, number 3.
Here we go.
The 2 things that stand out that I remember distinctly was, one, how cold the kitchen was. And I think you and I started talking about, when energies in a room aren't happy about something, that it's very, very cold, or, like you kind of get that chilly effect, which I just want to add that eventually the room did warm up. It actually got very toasty in there. So we did something right.
Yeah.
The temperature did shift. And then the second thing was, I think the time when you saw me kind of looking all kind of crazy is we were trying to finish the room, and a piece of tile had disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that. Yeah, we had that one area where, I guess in the photo, I kind of camouflaged it with a tray and a tea towel. And but that tile, even after cleaning up and unloading and offloading, and, because we had put things in the cabinets and things like that, we never found that piece of tile.
Well, when I came in and started talking to you about that, you had mentioned it was like terracotta tile, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was heavy. It wasn't something that could, just easily disappear, and we would have heard it had it hit the floor and broken. But that tile had walked off. I had laid out the pattern all across the island, so they knew exactly, which pieces to place where, and it was gone.
And you never did find it. That's crazy. It's really
never
amazing.
Found it.
Wow.
No, it's not like we had like excess pieces or a box that we didn't open. It was literally just gone.
The other major thing that I remember that happened was that you were doing your design inside the cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you keep trying to design inside the cabinets, and then when you come back, it's all messed up.
Oh, the things, we were trying to put, cups and, coffee mugs and plates and things on and I, was quite meticulous about how I was arranging things, but I would come back and, things would be a little disheveled or, moved around sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also said to the point where you were going to put curtains in there because you couldn't get it the way you wanted it.
We ended up doing that. We ended up having to sew curtains to just kind of close it all off because we couldn't get it just wouldn't work. It wasn't jiving. Didn't we later on take the pictures and we saw all the different orbs that were in the room?
There were orbs, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I remember the orb photo. I remember that whole conversation about the orbs. I don't even know if interesting is the right word, but I guess, when you're not sure, what you're confronted with. It's one thing to be able to solve a problem because you know what the problem is, but to have things be so random and such complex energies in there, it just does make it really challenging. It was a huge opportunity. I don't even know to date if I would have done anything different, but definitely the last thing that I was expecting to encounter.
Absolutely fascinating. Okay, go ahead.
That what, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Didn't she, I thought you told me she had a conversation with her workers.
Mm-hmm. She did.
Yeah. What was that about?
So what happened was the workers show up. She's been there getting ready. The workers show up. We're going to put up the terracotta up. There was terracotta molding up top that she put up there too. Really beautiful work.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, terracotta, and then on the island that's in the kitchen.
Okay.
And so she'd laid it all out for them and said, guys, let's get cracking here. And they said, okay, give us all the tile and we'll do it. She said, well, I gave you all the tile. And they go, well, no, you didn't, because you're missing a piece here. She goes, no. And she told me at that time, she thought maybe they were messing around with her.
Oh.
And they said, we just got here. We're not doing anything. And then it was, where's that missing piece? So, and you talk about poltergeist activity. listen, in my world, not yours, but in my world, spirits can do that. They can take physical things and hide them, take them away, like keys and all that stuff. You see it in the shows all the time. I put my keys down, or things change. They're not where they used to be. Here's a piece of terracotta, and it was big, and it was thick, and it was going over the end of the island, gone. How do you dematerialize something, or take it with you where? Where does that go? And it never showed up again. Is that wild?
Yeah, that's strange. And the workers, obviously, they're not going to risk their job on a piece of tile.
No. But again, there's a justification factor in almost all these stories where people are going like, no, just like with Tony and Glenda. It's like, wait a minute, that can't. Maybe it's the windows,
right? Because
this doesn't happen. Well, it does happen. And to lose that piece of tile was, so she ended up putting like she said, like a terry cloth thing over, I don't know, lace or something, over in that corner to hide it. And I also had photos. This was in 2006. The interview was 2018.
Oh.
Like 12 years later.
Yeah.
She still remembered that. That's how much it affected her.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just remember taking photos of her room, because once that happened, I found that out. Then I was fascinated. I went, okay, because I went to her and I told her, because she said to me one day, and we didn't get into this in the interview. She said, "What's going on here?" Because she was
she didn't know it was haunted.
No,
or there was stuff going on.
Not at all. No. And we were again told not to talk about all that stuff.
Right.
So when I would see people look like that, I go, "Oh, good," because that's when I walked in. I saw her and went, and she looked at me and she goes, "What's going on in here?" And I said, I'm not supposed to talk about it. So eventually I said, listen, what I would always say is, it is active. And that would drive them crazy. Like, what are you talking about, active? But I was not supposed to say it's haunted.
Right.
So she was awesome. It was never found.
No.
And I love that story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
Next one up.
Yeah.
This is... you were involved in this one with the voice.
Okay, and who was with me? And I'll try to recall this.
Steve, Tim, Brother Matt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me try to set this up.
Okay.
This was a really cool story. Really cool story.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You guys aren't going to believe this, because when I was cutting it, I was like, what? And I called Clete and I said, this sounds like a guy that was with you. And he goes, no, it wasn't. And then I listened more and more, and it was, anyway.
Okay, so here's the story. Tim, who was a friend of ours, I love this guy. He worked for the city. He's moved on to a different city. The greatest guy, the coolest, nicest dude. And we became great friends. And he said to me one day, is there any way my brother Matt, who lives in San Diego, hello, Matt, is there any way that Matt could come up and get a tour of the mansion? I said, well, I'll talk to Steve and maybe we can set something up. I talked to Steve and Steve goes, yeah, why don't we have him come in? And what we'll do is we'll put a card table in the middle of the grand hall. We'll get some glasses of whiskey, some cigars, and set it up like Ned and Hugh probably used to do. And we'll play cards, whatever. We'll just hang out and see if they show up.
But you were setting it up in the middle of the hallway instead of like the card room. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we want to do it in the grand hall.
Okay.
Just middle of the grand hall, because reason being, you can see that way. You can see the west. You can see the east.
See all the way down.
You can see everywhere, and you can hear everything. That's why when I used to leave my recorder, I put it in the top of the second floor landing, right by the balustrades there, the railing there, because I put it right on top there, because now you've got the landing itself and Mr. and Mrs. Doheny's room, down to the servants' wing, and down below grand entry. It catches everything.
Right.
So we wanted to do it in the grand hall. We set it up. Tim and Matt show up. Steve and I hang, and we're having a couple sips. Steve more than myself, just so you know that.
Right. Go ahead.
It's important that you know that, quite frankly. And I think it's the truth.
It probably is, but go ahead.
Thank you.
Knowing Steve.
So we're hanging out, just talking. We want to do it late. So it was probably 11:30. Kept chatting and talking and had a recorder there. And hey, you know, if you want to join us, sit down and grab a seat and have a glass of whiskey. I wish I had the recorders and things that I do now, but because maybe we caught something when they didn't. We just didn't hear.
Never
it,
know.
You know. So we did that. We sat there for quite some time, and then after we were done, now I had brought a laser grid. You know, so what, like it's a little like pen light that you twist, and it does all these dots, so that if you place it into an area within the home, if you think there are ghosts or spirits in there, if they're there, they'll cover some of those dots. You'll see them move through.
I've seen that on the other shows. I don't know about that. You've seen it. I mean,
I don't know about you. I don't know why you're doing this show, quite frankly. What is this?
Some of these things, the dots, and is it just, I thought energy, why would energy block a laser light?
What are you asking me?
Well,
I don't know.
You're the expert.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Why do spirits make noise when they walk? I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. But they could say, well, it's the... whatever they're going to say. The barometric pressure allows this 1 foot to hit.
All right.
I don't know. Bottom line is I had this laser grid. Can I continue
Please,
on? Laser
please do.
grid to use. I had a REM pod. You know, deep, deep, put your hand close to it. My recorder, my voice recorder. And it was getting near midnight. Nothing had happened. And Matt had come up from San Diego. And I said, look, this was cool. This was fun to hang out in here, but let's give Matt a quick tour of the home because he's seen nothing. You know, we just came in and sat down. So Steve said, okay.
Okay, so can we play that? Or do you want to, you have more?
Can I?
Go ahead.
Let's play it.
Thank you. Number 4.
So you have your recorder? So he's got the recorder. I've got the spirit box and the speakers. I've got my laser grid. I've got everything.
Everything's cool. The laser grid's cool.
Yeah. So what you want to do, Steven? Well, I gotta tell you, man, I felt like there was some wind or air coming through the kitchen. Cold air.
What was that noise just now? Like a hello? Was that you?
No. What's gonna be on the recorder?
Like it's coming from over there.
Is there anybody here with us?
Okay.
That's a trip.
Okay, now you may have missed it. You may have missed it, so we're gonna play it for you a couple times. But let me tell you what's happening. Steve, Tim, myself, and Matt are walking Grand Hall, coming toward the kitchen. We walk through the pantry, the butler's pantry, into the kitchen, and that's where this conversation takes place. We're talking about the devices that I have, the ghost devices that I have, and a ghost says, hello. And we continue speaking. I didn't hear it. Steve Clark didn't hear it. Tim didn't hear it. But Matt from San Diego, he heard it. So he's standing next to me. Obviously, I did not hear it, but just his look and what he says to me scared me more than anything that whole night. He looks at me and goes, did you just hear that? And I was like, what?
He's a tall guy?
Yeah, big fella. And I was like, I didn't know what he's talking about. He goes, that hello? And I go, well, it's on the recorder for something. And he said to Steve, did you say hello? And Steve goes, no.
Yeah,
No.
Steve was like, no.
Play that again, will you?
I'll play the, not the walk up, I'll play the other
Play the
version.
walk up, because I want to hear the whole thing.
okay.
One more time, sorry.
Okay. This is where you're walking up.
Yeah.
So you have your recorder? So he's got the recorder. I've got the spirit box and the speakers. I've got my laser grid. I've got everything.
Everything's cool. The laser grid's cool.
Yeah. So what you want to do, Steven? Well, I gotta tell you, man, I felt like there was some wind or air coming through the kitchen. Cold air.
What was that noise just now?
What's it going to be on the recorder? Is there anybody here with us?
So he says, what was that noise or whatever? And Steve, did you hear it? And Steve goes, no. I mean,
No, Steve had no clue.
Flat out was just like,
I
no.
didn't hear it. He's standing right next to me. Isn't that weird? He's standing right next to me. I didn't hear hello. Tim's talking about the grid, and we're kind of saying, so what do you want to do,
Are
Steve?
you holding the mic?
I'm holding, no, he's got the recorder. So somebody has the recorder. I don't know who it was.
Okay.
I've got the laser.
But did you hear how loud that was?
Yes, and we're going to play it again. And the echo. There's no furniture in it. You're hearing a voice that's coming from the room within where we are. Our voices are echoing. That voice echoes.
I didn't
as well.
listen for that. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and what's odd to me is that he's standing next to me, and I didn't hear it. Tim's on the other side of me. Steve's in front of me. None of us heard it except for Matt from San Diego. So, can we do it again?
I'll play but the shorter
Just
version.
shorter version, yeah.
So what you want to do, Steven? Well, I got to tell you, man, I felt like there was some wind or air coming through the kitchen, cold air.
What was that noise just now? Like a hello? Was that you?
No.
Now, by the way, if you think about what I'm saying, I felt some cold air inside the kitchen. Now, is that the spirit manifesting, the cold? We've had that on several. I don't think we've done Carl, have we? No, that's upstairs. No, so I'm sorry, it's another show. But you'll hear another show about cold manifesting and all that stuff. So, to me, this is one of the best EVPs I've ever received.
EVPs meaning?
Electric voice phenomena. It's not an EVP. It's an actual voice. It's not electric. It's an actual spirit voice.
Yeah, it's a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can play.
Just play the hello. That is just wild.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. This one makes my head spin.
Good. I'm glad something does. Because that's, I don't know. Now, you could say, I'm doing that and putting you on.
No. If he's saying, what was that noise? And everybody's going like, I didn't hear anything.
Right.
I mean, right then and there.
Right.
It's not like we added it after the fact because he's saying it in the interview way back then.
Yeah, it's a great point. And we did, once I listened to it and I heard it, I was like, oh my God. And I sent it to Tim and Matt and Steve and said, listen to this.
What was their response? What was Matt's, Tim, who heard it?
Matt. Yeah.
What was his response?
I sent it to Tim. He sent it to Matt.
Oh.
I think he was just flabbergasted. He goes, probably said, yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just, it's really hard. I wish I would have been the guy that heard it.
I know.
It's always the case. Like, oh man. But, boy, that's pretty phenomenal that you can actually have a voice manifest itself like that. And how they do it, I don't know. How do they get the energy?
You got me.
You have to get the energy to do that. Secondly, but they have no voice box. That's what everybody always says. Well, if there's no voice box, how can they speak? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, none of it makes sense to me. But that is very telling.
That's really great.
That's very telling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wish I had like a bell or something. But let's do the sound of the week.
We have. Yeah. What is the sound of the week? Does it have a name?
It has a name. It's called Triple Attic.
Oh.
Was it
triple? What?
Was it in the attic?
Well, if it says attic, I'm guessing that's where it
says. Well, it says triple attic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I just was always looking at the triple.
Then it's in the attic. I got this in the attic and put my recorder up in the attic, which was rare. I didn't really want to do that.
Wow.
Much.
Okay. Want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Three different sounds, different levels, different.
Right. So if you like I've left the recorder, as you know, many times, and you'll get a something like that. By the way, there are those that actually touch the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. There is.
It's probably a bug or something.
Yeah, bug eater. You
cockroach.
Think about this. I always say this. You get a recorder. Let's say the recorder is this big. And you put the recorder in a 46,000 square foot home. What are the odds that something's going to come up and go like this to it? It's impossible. It's impossible.
It's not impossible. It's unlikely. Highly unlikely.
I'll go with that. That's even better.
All right.
It's about time.
All right.
And you'll hear it go, click the mic on the recorder, which to me is nuts.
It's crazy.
So what that means to me, and we'll go back to this. What that means to me is that spirit watched you place the recorder in the house. Because if it's 46,000, you'll never find it.
All right,
but
there you go, adding your own spin to it. What the spirit does, I'm just saying, it's highly unlikely that
I'm telling you the truth. You're watching because you believe in what I've done. Listen to this idiot. You're listening to me because you know I'm telling you the truth.
You walk away and then decides to flick it?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Yes, it's not going to. It probably won't do it while you're there.
Yeah. You're the expert.
I am the expert compared to you, for God's sake. I don't know why you're on the show.
I don't either.
What the hell happened here?
Because I cut it together. That's why.
We lost
and
all
you
control.
need me.
Yeah, I need nothing from you.
All right.
So I want to play the triple one more time. Let me get back to my original point here with the triple.
Go ahead.
The triple is if you have one thing that falls accidentally, like inside the attic, you have this one room which is creepy, and we're going to get into that room and hear about things that happened. Something happened to me up there in that room. I don't even know if I don't think I even put it in. But that attic is creepy. But off the attic are catwalks, right?
Incredible.
That these catwalks.
Those are creepy up there.
Those are really creepy. And you can go on those catwalks and follow those, and they're inside the ceiling of the building so that they could go over and, let's say there's a lamp that needed mending or something, like they could pull it up and fix it instead of going in there and being a problem for the owners. They could take care of things from the ceiling above. So let's say there's a rock, I don't know what else to say, something within the catwalk that falls. You would hear go, ting, whatever. These are separate, different sounding hits. And I get this a lot. I've got it, and in the attic quite a bit, actually. Recently, by the way, in 2023, I got my recorder up in there and got some doubles and a triple. So,
but in the attic, is there carpet up there?
When you first come up the stairs and you turn and you go up to the landing, that's all carpeted.
Oh, but actually inside there.
You take some steps and you go into the room where there's a hand crank, which we're talking with Chan.
Right.
That's all cement.
Oh, okay.
Catwalks.
Does this sound like it's on cement?
No. I don't think it's on. Do it, play it. Let's hear it. I don't know what to say. It doesn't even. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's. Gosh. Ting. Now do they have a rat problem there? I've never seen many rats or anything there.
No, man, I've never even seen any droppings that I ever did find.
Yeah, outside.
Well, yeah, there were rats outside for sure.
No. I mean, you saw the droppings outside, not inside, though. I don't ever remember seeing.
No, there were some mice, not rats,
okay.
little that got into the electrical switches things.
Oh yeah.
So, but that was before they redid the electrical in the mansion.
Right.
I think I said it was 10 miles of wire.
Yes.
They did.
Yeah.
So those were closed off, and
those little mice wouldn't make those. That just doesn't make sense.
Come on.
Okay, that doesn't make sense to me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. What a great. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
God, you're getting me crazy.
Thank you, everybody, for watching our show tonight.
Yes.
Make sure you
so
like, subscribe, ring the bell, what it takes to follow us if you can.
Right. Yep.
If you have any comments, leave them in the show, the comments below in the notes. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're upset with him, put it in the comments below.
Or him.
Because his attitude tonight, Wow.
Well, you got to keep the show going.
Yeah, you're going all right. You're going right off the show.
If you have any comments, if you actually have had an experience up at Greystone, we would love to hear that. So leave that, and we might get back to you and get you on the show. Also, if you don't feel like leaving it where the public can see it, just go to our website. Our website is ghostsofgreystone.com. And leave it there. Send us an email, and we will get right back to you, and we'll talk to you about it. That would be fantastic.
Listen, we have screams, spirit communications, music, apparitions coming up next.
That's in the servants wing first floor is our next one.
Yeah. Now these have been pretty good. You got to give it to us. These are pretty good, but we're going to get in. Will you get in the servants wing?
It's crazy.
Go in there by yourself, because I'm not going with you. I had, years of that, and it was always creepy in the servants wing. And so we're going to have all that in our next show. But what's so
music?
Yeah, there's music.
Oh,
yeah.
I see that on the notes.
Yeah, and there's in several shows there have been music. Have been music? There has been music.
People have heard music.
There you go.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
And shows to come, you'll hear music, which is really, you won't hear it, but you'll hear them talk about music. It's really great.
Yeah.
But of all the things, all the shows and all the stuff that we're hearing tonight, just remember one thing. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Appreciate you being there. We'll see you next week.
100 horses in 5 freight trains couldn't drag me into that early grave. I've cashed in the mistakes I've made, while God rode shotgun from 1,000,000 miles away. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. With the heart of a gypsy and the eyes of a child, I walk these fields and let my love grow wild. Filled with fever, I dare my desire. Don't fear the flame, I walk through the fire. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. I'll keep riding till the trail grows cold, where the hillsides burn, amber and smoke. The sheep and the shepherd are lost on different roads, blinded by hate, blinded by hope. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal